Welcome to the second episode of Hustle to Hero. Today we have the multi-millionaire property investor, Sean Land.
Getting into property was like a taboo word. That didn't put me off.
So you was a part-time builder while being a landlord, while being at McDonald's, while helping at your dad's business.
You get to a stage where you do all of these strategies and then you just think, right, how do I give back? What's my legacy?
We're going to be talking about an array of strategies he's done: buy, refurbish, refinance, housing multiple occupancy. He's even ventured into residential care home.
I've got a portfolio of buy-to-let, HMOs, pubs with flats on top. If one of these industries go down, my whole portfolio don't go down. Because over here, people going, you talking about money or a business deal? Don't want to know about it.
As well as the non-dom tax, which is changing in April 2025.
Am I going to carry on buying in the UK? Currently not. And then you step back and then you look over to Dubai and you think, wow, this is the center of the world.
And his interview with Simon Squibb. So stay tuned, like, subscribe and comment, please.
Sean Land's the nice guy. He's the easy target. Put me in a room with Andrew Tate, I'll conversate. If you know somebody who went bankrupt with property, it's because he did it wrong.
Do you sell property courses?
Sure. No, I don't believe in property courses at all. I will never sell a course. I can say that on camera, screen record that. Sean Lamb would never sell a property course.
You said that you wouldn't sell courses, but you're doing courses. What has happened? Well, welcome, Sean. Thank you for coming to Hustle to Hero podcast. I am really looking forward to this because you've done an array of strategies from buy, refurbish, refinance, housing multiple occupancy, venturing into residential care homes. We're going to talk about Section 21 for landlords, how that's going to affect them, your opinions on that. You're investing over abroad as well. So where have you invested? Why have you invested? The pros and cons on that. And non-dom taxes, and your interview with Simon Squibb, because that was intense. A 45-minute YouTube video was juicy. it was absolutely juicy. So with that being said, let's start off with HMOs. How long have you been doing HMOs?
HMOs, I think it's been about 12 years, 13 years. So I got on the bandwagon right at the start of when, these houses were coming about. Literally, my dad had a house and he rented it out to somebody. And he's like, hey, Sean, this guy's rented my house and turned it into a hotel. And I'm like, a hotel? Like, what do you mean? And he goes, have a look. Put it off for, 5-6 months. And then I went to have a little look. And basically, he created individual rooms for working professionals. And I was like, so how does this all work? And I was very fortunate that this guy, Steve, had quite a few houses that he rented off other landlords. And he was just willing to teach me.
Nice.
Yeah. And I just went and bought a 3-bedroom house. Mm-hmm. And put a partition through the double lounge, so turned it into a 5-bedroom HMO. Done all the electricals, alarms, emergency lighting, put a fire extinguisher. Just went through the list, and he's like, "You're good to go." And then all of a sudden, licensing came in 2013 because right where we are right now, where we're filming, is Newham Borough, and they bought a licensing scheme in. So I was like, "Oh, happy days! More money to the council."
Yeah. So what have you done then? So with that, I take it because you're born and bred in Stratford.
Yes.
Yes, you're third generation.
Yes.
Yes, and I know it's been a very hard for you and your family. You've rationed food, lentils, and all that, like a typical Indian family. Because I'm Indian as well, so I get that as well. Like working really hard. So how have you got? Do you have properties in Article 4? How have you got around it? Do you have godfather rights? Do you explain?
Yeah. So some of my HMOs was before the Article 4 came in.
Okay.
So I got in quite early. So getting into property was like a taboo word after the recession in 2008. I was working in banking, but that didn't put me off. And it's a lot of the time people don't want to get into property because it's the wrong time. It's too late.
Yeah.
It's too expensive. Too many regulations. But hey, there's always money to be made somewhere if that's what your passion is, if that's what you want to, give to sort of people. So I started off with single buy to let and just went into the HMO space at a time where it was just about the new buzzword. And then they just started bringing licensing and then Article 4. Article 4 pretty much started, licensing started in this borough.
Right.
So we got the brunt of it mostly. And then from there, I had to sort of pivot, to be honest. I had to pivot where I actually bought a house. I'd done a double-story side extension. It was 1.5 bedrooms. And I turned it into a 6-bedroom HMO. And I actually let it as a HMO, not even knowing about this the licensing, and all of a sudden, 2 years in, enforcement comes down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
Not. Hey, you got to shut this down, you know. And when these enforcement officers
No
came,
warning whatsoever.
not really sort of warning. They wrote a letter and they said, we need to inspect. Can you give us proof when this was set up? And I went, hey, look, I'm not lying here. I know when I've set it up. I know when the planning permission was accepted. And this is how I started it. But I didn't know about this Article 4 direction. So I really learned the hard way because it was just a new thing back in like 2013, 14.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what the hell have I done? I've put nice wood flooring, lovely, you know, wardrobes. I've put sinks in every single room because I was the builder on the job as well. I'd done the plumbing underneath. I made sure there was a sink so nobody was rushing in the morning to brush their teeth. The only thing they would be using is the toilet. And I think, what do I do now? So they come in and they just looked around. They went, oh, actually really nice. LED lights and stuff. And they said, look, you've done a really good job, but it's just not allowed right now. So I was like, what do I do? So this is when I was like, I want to give this house to someone in need, someone who really would appreciate this. And basically, here's a top tip for you guys. Just Google semi-independent homes and a list of providers will come up. People who have a management system and staff rotating. And these people, these companies need houses that they just don't want to buy. They just want to lease them off you or rent them off you. And then they can just provide care for the kids, really. So that's what I pivoted onto that sort of side.
Wow.
So while HMO became Article 4, I didn't sort of pursue that any longer. I just made these houses, got these extensions done, and just got this C3B planning agreed on them and just started giving them away, like having...
What, like housing associations or what like
they're
providers?
They're like providers like independent.
Okay.
And they just take your house off you.
Nice.
You know, they
guaranteed
do...
rent.
Yes, guaranteed. And here's the thing, even Ofsted, you know, regulate these people. So you don't even need to really check the houses as much. I mean, I still do spot checks, but when you go to the houses, it's like Ofsted like rate you on a white bulb or a yellow bulb. Like they're very on it. So these houses are really look aftered well. They're on rent repairing leases in terms of they do all the building works. You know, I've gone past one of my houses and brand new fences have gone up and I'm like, someone's really, you know, doing the house up, etc. So I pivoted to that. And so once I got one or two providers, I ended up saying, do you want more? Or I found like agencies. I just knew how to look for it. And so I've actually got 3-4 different providers who are taking these houses. So it was like, hey, the private rented sector is getting really, really hard. How can I still give back to the community where, you know, I came from hard times, as we said earlier on. You know, I know what it feels like to have nothing. So how do we make an impact and change to these kids where they're living in a really nice house? And now, today, fast forward, I'm actually doing a few applications to partner up with another top care home to provide the care like firsthand. So I'll be providing the houses with all of the regulations, fire doors, etc. And he does the Ofsted side.
So when you're saying about the care homes, are you... Obviously, you're bringing the property. Are you having the people to employ as well to help inside the care home?
So currently, no.
Okay.
I'm hands off. Right. You know, they just do all of that sort of side. The only thing I give them the keys over. But I am going into a space where as soon as a few of these plannings are agreed, I will be more involved into that sort of side of things. So you know
who's going to help then?
Yes. And like there's things like, you know, financial literacy that I know loads about that I want to provide a charity to help these kids. Indirectly, you know, so you get to a stage where you do all of these strategies, invest in certain places, and then the machine runs itself, sort of thing. And then you just think, what, right, how do I give back? What's my legacy? What's my brand all about? You know, so
that's amazing. That is amazing because we dived into HMOs. So back onto that topic.
Yes.
How many HMOs do you have?
So I've already got about 4 HMOs in my portfolio.
Well, I thought it was going to be huge.
No.
I thought it's going to be, because you must have done way more by refurbish, refinance.
Yeah, I've done loads of them.
You must have concentrated on that compared to HMOs, was it?
Yeah,
what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a portfolio of buy-to-lets. I've got a portfolio of HMOs. I've got pubs with flats on top. I've bought blocks where there's single sort of, you know, it's one building, but it's got like 3 flats in there.
Yeah.
But that's what I like to do because I kind of pivot on what's kind of where my time is going to be allocated the least, but the most amount of value as well.
Yeah.
So, I'm thinking HMOs are great, and it was great for me and served me at that time between that 2013, 2017 period. But then I pivoted more on, I'm getting similar money for giving these partners my keys. And then, hey, how do I get around the buying? Like, purchase prices are going up. Also, taxes are going up. Stamp duties are going up. So how do I buy this in one transaction, but get more rentals out of this? So when you're getting multi-let units, you're thinking, right, now it's not just one place. I can count this as 4 because I got 4 different rents coming from here. But the buying of the solicitor was just all in one sort of transaction. And also multi-let sort of mortgages are not like as high as sort of HMOs. But I'm not saying HMOs are bad. It's just, you just got to get a really good deal and make them outside of an Article 4. So you're getting that value. Look, here's the things with HMOs. People who make HMOs are not the people who buy HMOs.
Right, okay.
You don't buy a HMO because you've lost on that appreciation. And then you go into an environment where you're going to a mortgage company and they're giving you 6-7% now. So the lending is high, there's more work to do, and you've paid through the roof for it as well. So a HMO is only viable if you're getting that 3 or 4 bedroom, you're creating more rooms, it's outside of that area, and then you get a new commercial valuation from this property, and you're going to see that uplift in value, and then you're going to be able to extract that money out of that value. And even like, chartered surveyors, when they come out, they a lot of the time down value HMOs, because how do you value a HMO? If it's not in an Article 4, it's very tough for them because what distinguishes this house to the house next door? Because that's a 3-bedroom house, this is a 5-bedroom HMO. But at any time, this could be converted into a 5-bedroom HMO.
Yeah.
So how do you value these two? How do you give this a 75,000 per, room sort of valuation? Because I've sat with, Rightmove, I've sat with these top lawyers and brokers and surveyors, and they're going, it's very, very hard. So it's something you have to be educated around heavily. You've got to know exactly what you're doing when you're getting into HMOs. It's not a simply put a partition up, a couple of alarms, and that's it. It's a lot more due diligence around it.
Especially with the council, they're very strict now, aren't they, with their compliance check? Especially
Absolutely.
like Woking Council, because I'm sorry. So with Woking Council, I saw the checklist. I thought it was very overwhelming. So I could just imagine what it's like, and it's not an Article 4 place. And I could imagine what it's like in an Article 4 place. And plus, you've got godfather rights, I assume. So it must be.
You call it godfather rights. We call it grandfather rights.
Oh, grandfather.
I don't know if that's a new buzzword.
There you go. Grandfather rights, godfather rights. It's all the same. It begins with a G. So back to your refurbish and refinance. So how many have you done? So what made you get into that? What was that? Your first protocol? Because you got your buy-to-lets, then your HMOs. Was that the third stage or?
So basically, the first things first is get your lottery tickets in, get your cash machines running. So it's just get your first house, buy it. I've got 2 jobs, that income, saved it up. And instead of use it for a car or a depreciating asset, I wanted to put it into an asset that could give me passive income. Yeah. So it's one ticket, like this one house is starting to give me money now. So now I'm saving that house money, and my other earned income could be a business for some people where they've got a cash flow or rent to rent business. You save that money and get your next house. Why should I refurbish this sort of property right here? I've already bought it under market value. I might have put a lick of paint or a new kitchen in it, but why should I do a big extension? I mean, how much more is it going to give me if I've got a 2-bedroom house or a 2-bedroom house with a loft conversion? I might get from 1,200 to 1,500. It's not life-changing money. You got to know your numbers. That £300, what's that going to be? 3,600 at the end of the year? It's not going to do anything. My bank account won't even see that. So you think that extra 30, 40 grand spending on a loft conversion, put it into another property. Buy it, find another one for 200, put a 25% down, 150 loan, right? There's another lot of grand coming in. Them grands make the differences, grand there, 2 grand. What is that a year? 24 grand. Oh, 24 grand from my job now. Boom, 50 grand, buy the next one. And it got to a stage where house prices sort of left me. And I'm like, shit, what do I do now? Like, they're not 200, they're 250, 300. I need a bigger deposit. So what do I do? And that's when I looked at my existing portfolio of 3-4 houses, and I'm going, right, I'm going to leave the bank now anyway. My granddad's not around. My dad needs a hand. I'm more flexible. I've got freedom of my time right now. What do I do? And there was a builder actually doing a build for me, and he just started messing me about. So I had to kick him off the job. And and that was after, like, I was very patient, and $4,000 in extra and another $4,000. And I'm like, I'm coming for my run every night round here. I'm opening the door and there's still not a bloody roof on. Like, what are you?
Where's the money?
Exactly. What are you doing? So once I kicked him out, he didn't need much help getting kicked out. He was like, yeah, I'm just trying to milk you right now. One of the head builders said, hey, Sean, I haven't been paid. And I went, my contract's not with you. I'm pissed off myself. So he goes, do you have any work? And I went, yeah, I've got this job. And that's it. He goes, I want £100 a day. That's all I want. And I'll get your job done. And he goes, I just need a labourer and materials. I nicked my dad's van from his shop to put like 2x4 timbers in. And I started labouring. And that's what I started doing. So once I realised that a laminating floor just needs a chop saw and how to measure it, and it was just a little bit of mathematics, and how to mix plaster. It's just half a bag of this, X amount of water, mix it, learn the consistency. I was like, the harder I work and the more stuff I get prepared for the builder, the more he just, I'll put that on. Like, he knows how to level it. He knows how to click things in. So I was just like, hey, like, just start helping him. So once I'd done my one, he was like, where's the next job? And I was like, yeah, where is the next job? The next door neighbor called and said, could you render our wall? And he gave a massive quotation of like £3,000 for like a 3-day job. She was like, yeah, that's my cheapest quote. Yeah, when can you guys start? I've seen you working really professionally here. And that's how it happened. So I went and done that job. I got another planning permission agreed in one of my other properties for a loft, rear and first floor. So once we earned in, like, it started being my business where people go, where did you get this money from buying all these houses? Well, while I was doing my houses, I started doing jobs for other people. And these 3, 4, 5 grands that kept coming in, I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable how much you get paid for doing a good job and helping people do extensions. And I still worked in McDonald's at this time at 26 on a weekend because I just liked the thought of, what if my houses don't give me rent? I need that buffer. And this lady came in and she goes, Sean, you do a bit of building work. My boss, she does all these big jobs in central London. She's working on a project where she needs cash flow because with these commercial projects she does, she gets paid after. So when you do the residential ones, you get paid up front. And she goes, can you do a build with us, for this rear extension? It's from this lady from the BBC, can't really say her name. And I was like, yeah. And in my head, I was like, shit, are we really doing this? Like, I've never properly done a big extension like this before. And bloody, it was the hardest extension you'll ever imagine. The whole bloody thing was made with waterproof plywood. Yeah. Wow. It was a 6 meter by 6 meter. And we had to bolt plates down. And my builder just went, I know exactly what to do. And we actually built the whole extension on the floor and we had to erect it up. And these beams had to sit on top of it. And then we had to put birch plywood. So it was like an exposed beams. Oh, wow. And it was 4 or 5 builders said no to it. And I just said, yeah, let me do it. And yeah, that was quite a big job for us, 80, 90 grand. And, I was just on it. So
you was a part-time builder while being a landlord?
Yeah.
While being at McDonald's, while helping at your dad's business, you wearing a load of hats.
Yeah, so it's all about time management. I had my structure. Where did I need to be at what time? I said to my dad, look, my building work don't happen in the evening, so I'll do your evening shifts in the shop. Yeah. So you go home at 6 o'clock, I'll handle it 6 to 10. My mum would help in the morning so he could have a little bit of a break, go to his gym, and then he'll do a few hours in the evening, and I'll just close his shop up.
Wow.
And during the days, I was on the building site, and Saturday, Sunday, I'd just do a shift. So, on Saturday, Sunday, I'd do a shift in McDonald's. It's just about saying to yourself, I'm nothing. I'm not bigger than money, because I don't follow money. I just follow success. I follow freedom. I want freedom of my time. And that's a bypass of this instrument called money, fiat currency. I need to go and earn that. I need to make more of that. And how do I get that? I mean, look, I was a business owner from the age of 16. Why? Because 16 my first 8 years before that was learning about entrepreneurship, business, being next to the man like my father, you know, and I absorbed it. I wasn't like the other kids who were like, no, I'm busy with computer games or I'm going with my friends. I did do some of that on certain days, but I chose to listen to my dad. After that, I did accounting and finance. So I'm a master of numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been to the uni, haven't you?
Yeah.
You got your degree.
Yeah. So I was just in that circle of no one in the family's gone to do a degree. I want to make my family proud. So I used to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday in Greenwich Uni, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday is to do McDonald's. So I used to make enough to make sure I paid for my uni fees so I wasn't in debt, and kept myself busy all the time. Did uni teach me everything and everything? Maybe not. You know, was it a good experience meeting new people, friends that I've still got today? Yes. Did it teach me about time management, skills of leading a team when you had to do projects together? Yes. Things like that. So everything's an experience in life, and I just wanted to experience everything. At 21, I started in the bank. So I learned how to cash money, count money really fast. But at the same time as counting money, having conversations with people, building something called rapport, that sort of connection. Because when I'm about to check your account, I'm also looking on a gateway system of your direct debits. And what's your largest direct debit? It's your mortgage. So I'm like, hey, when's the last time? Hey, I've just banked your £200. Here's your receipt. Oh, can I ask you a quick question, Joanne? I already know your name and we've already built that. When's the last time we reviewed your mortgage? Oh, I haven't really. Yeah, I've seen it's changed. Should we get that looked at for you? All of a sudden, I became this guy who knew how to get all of these leads, savings, lending, insurances, all of these things. And I became just like a superstar in there, you know? All of a sudden, they go, how's this guy in 18 months? Like, we have this rule, 18 months, that he can't move anywhere. How's he doing this in 8 months? He's just shifting to a different role. Because the hires above are going, that's a star kid. Get him into the next role. He'll sell more. You know, just especially after a recession, I was number one in West End, you know? So that's a bit of the things that I don't really talk about on a podcast. My journey through Barclays, I was a cashier, coordinator, personal banker, number one in the area, premier relationship manager at 23 years old. I was one of the youngest in that boardroom. There's nothing but 40-year-olds. You know, when you see these old bankers who've been smoking at their desks, you know, and they're going, yeah, this is my client for 20 years. I was the new fresh kid going, they're thinking, this little young clean shaven kid, what's he gonna do? Because I knew all of the little servicing and provided all of that service for these people, all of a sudden they felt they owed me something. So when their mortgage came up or they had a lump sum of money coming from their oil trading and they got 300-400 grand, they're going, Sean, what shall I do with this? What account shall I put it in? Or what investments do you have? So it's all about how do you relate to people, how, like, whether you're in McDonald's serving someone a burger or whether you're with, you know, Mr. Cornwall in the IOD club, Institution of Directors Club, playing squash with him and find out to do that deal, is people just buy from people.
Of course, it's all sales, isn't it?
Exactly. And that's all of these things, you've got to absorb it, and it's like this sort of magic pill. I don't know if it's like the Matrix or something, which pill
or
do you
limitless,
want, you know, or something, but it's just like this intuition carries inside you. So when I'm looking at buy-to-lets, I'm like, this is great. We're providing housing for families. And then you just reach a ceiling where it's like, hey, hang on, this ain't sort of profitable for me doing this in this space anymore. And I'm outgrowing this. Then you go into HMOs, as we said, and then you face certain challenges again. And these Article 4s, etc. Then you go into, you know, multi-let unit blocks, and then you go into semi-commercials where there ain't that extra, you know, bit of stamp duty that you have to pay on a normal residential. So you avoid certain costs, and then you go more into sort of care home partner, and then you just think, hey, hang on, I've just done something called diversification. All my eggs are not in one basket. I've got a bit of that, bit of that, bit of that, bit of that. Guess what? If one of these industries or sectors go down, my whole portfolio don't go down. You know, you got to realize that as you grow, your element of sort of risk to the market is different. You can't just go, yeah, I'll have a simple buy to let this, and then one rule crushes you. You got to say, all right, it's affected this part of my business. Am I going to now sell this off, or can I look at this differently? Can I give it to the council back, like where I get guaranteed rent for it? They appreciate this more. Will they give me a premium? Is there longevity here? Or what's the benefit in selling this asset? Will I have to pay a huge amount of capital gains tax? Will I be hit by, more stamp duty? You just got to look at it holistically. And this is why education is so important when you come into this sector, because it's not just like, I've just got the keys to a house and that's it. This is when your problem starts. When I see that.
Literally. So with that, what's your opinions about Section 21?
Yeah, so rules and regulations in the property sector is nothing new. It's always been happening. They're tightening it and tightening. And so it should. Yeah, because we are renting to normal everyday people like me, my family, where we've come from. I wouldn't want my family to be treated bad or disrespectfully, and I would want to live somewhere where I'm happy. If I'm not happy, how am I serving you? How are you serving me?
Yeah.
It's not a really good relationship. They say the two most stressful times in your life is one, if you get divorced, and the other, is moving house.
Right.
So this house environment is very, very important. So if I'm living somewhere and I've just signed a 12-month agreement and then all of a sudden I'm really not happy because I wasn't given what I was promised, then why am I bound to live in this property for the next 12 months and worried about you're going to put a case against me? We've got to look from, the shoe on the other foot. And do I want a tenant who's unhappy, who's going to call me about every little last thing, where if you've got a happy tenant, they will change that light bulb. Yeah. They go, oh, I'm really sorry, didn't want to disturb you, but we changed that laminating floor or we done something, and you just think, wow, I've had them tenants who are really, really happy with you, and I've had them obviously them tenants who are unhappy. So Section 21 is one of the things is, people can give you, a month or 2 months sort of notice, isn't it? Yeah. So what's wrong with that? Why should that be an issue?
I think it's more to do with, I think it's getting a lot more tighter, a lot more legislation, and it is putting like a chain around landlords' neck, especially now where you've got stamp duty going from 2 to 4.5%. And now, I don't know if you've seen on the news with Labour's party, they're trying to do the non-dom tax. So like they're implementing that in April 2025.
Yeah.
And I know you've invested internationally now.
Yes. So look, let's look at this holistically now, as a business. Yeah, the UK has always been a safe haven. Like, people from abroad, Emirati, Saudi, they've plowed in billions. Like I've just seen Harrods was bought for 1.5 billion from, Mohammed Al Fayed. And
he bought the Shard as well.
Yeah, exactly. So these people have been investing here. So I call the UK a sort of safe haven where you keep your golden eggs, because we're on an island. There's only a certain amount of properties that can be bought in here. And what I have, I'm not going to sell. I'm a generational landlord. My kids will probably see my properties. Yeah. So that's what UK is. Now, going forward, am I going to carry on buying in the UK? Currently not. I haven't seen that sort of good deal. Are there deals to be had? Absolutely. But not for me, because I've got a large portfolio. I've got over £50,000 in rent coming in a month. So I'm really selective. If I'm not even going to make that on a certain percentage on a property, I'm like, it's not even worth me getting out of bed. So I've looked at it. Stamp duty, have gone from 3 to 5%. For foreign investors, now 7%. You've only got to sit down on the central line and go, the cushions are bloody gone here. There's graffiti everywhere.
Yeah.
And, someone's bloody pulled a passenger alarm every 2 seconds. So you're just looking at that environment. I've sat in the NHS, people like my mum's gone to the NHS and sat 17 hours in A&E. It's the whole thing is broken.
Oh, yeah.
So you're just thinking, why is this a place now that I want to invest? UK's already gone down. And it looks like it's going to go down another 20%.
Yeah.
And then you step back and then you look over to Dubai and you think, wow, the environment is under a certain threshold, you don't pay any tax. It goes to 9% tax, when you are being taxed.
What is the threshold?
I think it's about 100K.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it's about 100K,
Okay.
but don't quote me for that, because I haven't really. I just quote it as 9% because I know I'm going to be going into that environment. But if you're like a teacher and you're on 50,000, it's all tax free. Why? Because they believe you're putting that money back into the economy over there.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is currently building underground tunnels. The biggest airport in the world, 128 billion is being spent over there. This is like the center of the world now.
Yeah.
You've got the biggest Wen casino being built in the world. Currently it's in Las Vegas. So what do they want? They want that market share. And currently it's not legal to gamble.
It's in another part,
Ras
isn't
Al
it?
Khaimah.
Yeah.
So
I saw the drone helicopters that they're thinking of doing.
So that's
as
next
well.
year. Next year they are coming out where there's drones, the drone sort of transport Ubers. You got 4-seaters in there. Like the technology and the mindset of this country, it's the total opposite. And people think, oh, there's a bubble that's gonna burst. But if you look at where sort of Dubai is, they're like 11 down before all these other countries will go bust, like Japan, etc. So you think they're not even close to that. They are actually doubling their sort of population by 2033. You know what I mean? They're going for it. Why? Because it's a great environment for expats. There's only 15% Emiratis that are currently living there. 85% are expats. Why? Because you only need an internet connection now. So why not wake up to an environment where there's sunshine in the morning? And guess what, when you finish at 5 o'clock and you close your laptop, you can actually go outside and it's still daylight and it's still warm weather. And then you've got these sort of cages where people playing paddle or a little bit of golf, or you can just
It's safer environment as well, Sean.
under 1%.
Yeah.
Under 1%
Ridiculous.
of crime in Dubai. So just looking at from that point of view, it just sort of made sense. I'm the most risk averse person. I don't like change. I'm a little bit old school. I might look young, but I'm 40 next year, so I've still got that
You've
sort
still
of,
got a baby face, Sean. You've still got a baby
Thank
face.
you
It's
very
the
much.
Indian genes.
There we go. Yeah, I'll take that one. But a deal was put to me. Somebody said, do you want a property here? And it was a couple of friends of mine as well. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Looked stunning, wraparound balcony, pool view. And it was a specific place in Dubai. And I looked at this deal and it said 250,000. I was like, I ain't got 250 grand. Because sure, you don't need 250 grand. You only need half of that, 125. I said, oh, cool, that sounds better, but I still ain't got 125 for this deal. And then he goes, well, that's split into 5 payments. So you pay January, February, you pay your 2 payments. August, you'll pay another 25. That's 75 grand. And then the following year is 25 grand in February, which I've just paid, and another 25 in August. And 4 months before it completes, give us 4 bank statements and we'll get a mortgage for you.
Oh, wow.
So that's one exit strategy, mortgage. You can pay cash.
Nice.
And if I wanted to pay cash, 6 months later, I could get it revalued at the new valuation. Because guess what? It's already, the next lot are already selling between 320 to 330. So
you
that
refinance.
Yeah.
You can
So
definitely
60,
do that.
70 grand, it's gone up. Yeah, exactly. Go to the bank and say, look, pay this out, right? It's now built. It's now mortgageable. That's a different valuation as well. And so if it's worth 350 and I pull out 60% of my money, I've nearly de-risked that whole thing.
Yeah.
This is one of the best communities that I've actually invested in, and it's only 15 minutes away from the new airport. So where do you think all these pilots, these air hostesses, the cleaning staff and people who have shops, etc., where they're all going to be living? They've got to be living around, right?
Of course.
And Airbnb is going to be massive around that area. So Dubai isn't just marina and business bay. It's a new part that's coming down a certain way, and this is what you got to always look at. Not where it's happened, where is it gonna happen? Where's the next move?
Yeah.
So I did this, and so it's made me a lot more comfortable. And I'm thinking, a lot of people go, well, how do I know how to trust where my money's going? Well, it goes into a government escrow account. That means it's government protected.
Okay.
And you only deal with tier 1 companies. Forget the tier 2, tier 3, or these 1% payments or these 5% deposit and pay the rest when you build it. Why do you think these developers are giving these offers? Because they're struggling. They need money. So go for good payment plans. Projects which are like Imar, that's one of the people who have invested through. They built like the Burj, Another one invested through is Shoba,
wow.
And in Ras Al Khaimah, there's an island out there. And so where there's an island, the Sharia laws are not bound on them islands. Hence why they can build things like casino and, gamble and a few other things. And they're mimicking the Maldives right now. So, Dubai always does it better.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
I've got a piece of that.
Are you going to live over there?
Currently, I haven't thought about it, but I do feel that within the next 5 years, I probably will be.
With your kids and everyone, shift everyone out.
In some way, shape or form, I will be there.
Yeah.
I really do think so. Why wouldn't I? Why am I waking up after Christmas from these 4 or 5 months of cold, dark winters. Like, why are we doing that for ourselves? Sometimes we it's like generational trauma, isn't it? You think, I have to have this life. My parents had this hard life. I've got to put myself. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Just work harder at other things. Put your attention of where you have most value. Go for more coffees with people out there. Like, as soon as somebody sees a picture of me in Dubai, they're going, Sean, are you in Dubai right now? I get about 20 DMs. I'm like, that's where I should be, because over here, people going, you talking about money or a business deal? Don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a totally different mindset.
Oh, definitely. They don't seem as supportive. It's a very small community in the property that's actually will help you and lift. But over in Dubai, when I went there, it's just money mindset. As long as if you want to make money, that's all they care about. Exactly. And I thought, oh, this is brilliant. It's like a breath of fresh air. It's not like oh, I can't say this, I can't say that. You can actually freely speak about ideas, business things without any judgment at all. And then like everyone coming together. I thought that was amazing when I went to Dubai. I actually thought it was amazing. So the final piece I wanted to talk about is Simon Squibb.
Yes, Simon Squibb.
Well, that interview was juicy. As I said, it was very heated. Like, not heated in a way, but it was different from his perspective, wasn't it? It was, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, so he wanted to conversate with one of the property guys. There was a couple of other influencers on the scene, but he felt like Sean Land's the nice guy. He's the easy target. Let me get you in a corner and let me take the piss out of you, mate. I don't know. I can't say nothing bad about Simon Squibb. Everyone's entitled to opinion. But at the same time, Simon Squibb, like, you didn't want to cross my path because I said, like, put me in a room with Andrew Tate. I'll conversate. You know what I mean? Like, I've got my opinions. You've got yours. You might have another zero next to your name. It doesn't make you better than me. You might have done something, right place, right time. It's where your fortune is, your destiny, you know, and I'm happy. I'm happy at where I am and how much money I have and what I'm doing and the rate that I'm growing. I'm content with what I have. Yeah. If I don't ever buy another property, I'm still okay. You know what I mean? It's just about legacy and creating other people around me. But people like Simon Squibb had an opinion of, you should never get yourself buying a property. And I was like, why? Yeah, that's the place that got me into from nothing to having millions in my bank account, from owning assets over 10 million pounds now today. How did I get to that stage? Property did that for me. Yeah. So if you know somebody who went bankrupt with property, it's because he did it wrong. He didn't know how to do it and he wasn't educated properly. I took my time. I had my safety nets, I had safety buffers, and that's what I wanted to explain and portray, because I wanted him to know. And there was about 400 or 500 people on that live. So that's a snippet of a live that I reposted just to show people, hey, look, I believe in property. Put me up against anybody and I'll tell you why property is good. Yeah,
he didn't really like it, did he? I mean, I watched the whole YouTube video and I thought, this guy... you know, why do all the billionaires, what do they have? Billionaires, millionaires, they all have in common, they buy property.
He's got property himself.
I know, that's what I couldn't understand. I thought, you've got property yourself. But you know what I saw as well on one of your clips, you said that you wouldn't do courses or sell courses, but you're doing courses. So what has happened? What has happened onto that?
So my DMs just filled up and people going, can you teach me? Can you tell me? And I was doing that. I was being the sort of hero or doing God's work. And yeah, bro, this is what you got to do. Yeah, bro, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do. Oh yeah, darling, that just look over here. And it was like taking so much of my time up. And it was the same repetitive questions. And then all of a sudden, I realized that all of these people that I was helping, or I come back on a live on TikTok after a year, and they go, yeah, the property guy's back. I was like, yeah, what you been up to? Yeah, just still doing the job and still doing. But didn't you do anything? I tried and then I didn't. It was like there's no accountability. Right. There was nothing in terms of making a change. So what was I doing?
But you said on the screen record, you're like, screen record this now. Yeah. Sean Land will not sell courses. And I thought, hold tight. I went on your Instagram. You do. But you know what? It's great that you're giving back. Give you that. But so, what was the massive transition for you to say that on YouTube, and then it's sort of like you've gone back on your word?
Sure. So at that point in time, I felt there was no need for courses. And even now, I don't publicly go out, buy my course. You've never seen me on a video go, buy my course. I've got a course and stuff like that. It's people have come to me and said, Sean, we want a piece of you. We want to learn about the mindset, the money, how to get money, what are all the methods, but we want to learn it from you because you're just an everyday layman who's made it from there to there. Maybe that's all you need. Maybe you don't need all these bunch of formulas. And even though I do a bit of both, I've actually put 10.5 hours into this masterpiece of my brain onto this course, so I don't have to be asked that same repetitive question. I actually give a free, so the first thing I do is give you a free WhatsApp. Over 220 people. Even you can join that. That's the first thing.
Do you know what? I'm going to request that because it's on my phone. And I was like,
it
says request to join the community. Yeah. I see a couple of my friends on it.
And do you know how many people buy and do that in my group? And I don't get nothing out of it. I don't want anything out of it. I'm like, if 2 people can meet and it's helping you on your journey, sometimes people ask like build over agreements. This about 5 people jump in. It is a real community. Second thing, I've got, a generational ebook that people can read. Like it's quite a lengthy one. And on top of that, there's a 6-module course as well. So everything I do in the main course is a free one on a light version of things. And that gets you to go, oh, he's giving me quite a bit here. And that seems interesting. I like the sound of his voice. I like how he teaches. I understood something. I need to now get more access to the VIP. And I'm not 12 grand. I'm not 6 grand. I'm not even 3 grand. It's just a simple course at 997. Do you know what I mean? And it's 10.5 hours. That's taken me a whole summer to record. If you see some of the lighting and the screen records and me writing examples of this is what Jane does and this is what Bob does. He has it in a company. She has it in personal. It's so many strategies in there that anyone who's done that and gone, it's one of the best bloody courses that I've bloody done.
997. That's not
997 because I'm
decent.
I'm not trying to get rich from this. No. It's just literally paying for the website, all of the little subscriptions you got to pay for, and just keeping the whole thing alive. It's not something to go, if I sold 10 courses, it will get me 10 grand. What can I really do with 10 grand?
Not when you're bringing in 50k a month, Sean.
So it's just mainly to run itself. And any money that comes out of that is like, let's do an in-person event. Let's do a networking event. That's what I'm really interested in creating communities. So if £1,000 is too much to learn everything that I know in depth that you can keep watching, if that's too much for you, then property isn't right for you. Yeah. And that is from my opinion, because I know what I'm teaching is not bullshit. It's not rubbish. It is what I've actually done. I'm not gatekeeping anything. And then from there, I actually do the site visits.
Yeah, so, I saw that on your Instagram reels, because I see that are those your students that have gone on your course and you take them out with you as a day?
Yeah, so these are people who I'll take on to site visits and show you exactly developments that are being done. So currently we've got another one in the pipeline and another pub converting from a police station that's converting into flats. It's not actually my one, but I've got a very good network. Yeah. Off camera who allow me to go, Sean, why don't you show them this? And I know I've been 7 years as a builder. I'm showing you what an RSJ is, what fire retardant paint is, what are foundations, DPCs and double skin walls and insulation. So people understand. Even deal sources like to come on there. Do you know why? Because when they're looking at a property that they're trying to source for somebody and it's got damp, they're going, oh shit, like how much is that going to cost? On my building site, they're going, that's why damp is created, because of this DPC is not there, because the insulation, because it's not a double skin wall. They will learn all these other things and they're going, right, I'm not ready to buy, but now I'm learning everything about property. So if I could sell a deal, I could actually sell it firsthand because I've seen and know it from a builder's eye. So I know how to buy right on the BRRR, but I also know the build side, which a lot of people don't know about.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Sean. I really do appreciate that. And if anyone like this content, please like, subscribe and comment. Thank you so much for having.
Brilliant. Thank you for inviting me on.
Thank you.
Brilliant.